I'm sitting. Hey everyone, it's Emily. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here to a very fun and exciting puzzle vlog. I'm heading down to Portland Jigsaw Masters, which is a competition that is in Oregon, and I'm very excited, very rusty, not at all prepared for the competing part, but I am excited just to be with puzzle friends and take you along for the ride. So I'm just about to head into my Pear's partner's apartment. She has one of the largest Springbok collections in the world. We're talking like thousands of Springboks. I'm so excited to see it. And then we're gonna head down to Portland. Maybe we'll do some thrifting along the way. Really have no idea what this weekend is going to entail, but I'm gonna bring you along for the ride. So this might be in multiple parts depending on how much I film. Hopefully I film enough. I feel like sometimes I just like get sucked up in the excitement and what's happening, and then I never film anything. So I'm really gonna try to film stuff. And I'm just gonna head into her place now, and yeah, it should be a fun video. I'll leave timestamps down below as always, so you can jump ahead if you want to. Excuse my hair. I can tell I was in a convertible, but we got them to open the meeting room for us, and we're gonna do my first vintage Springbok. I'm so excited. This is this one. It is the mushroom one. Alright, so I am in my room, and tonight I'm actually staying outside of Portland. And so I was able to do that Springbok, which is so beautiful. It was missing two pieces, but such a fun puzzle. Now for the evening, I'm just gonna unwind, take a bath, like I'm excited, and call it a night. So I'll see you in the morning. So oh my gosh, I look awful. I can barely see. My allergies are atrocious today. But today is the start of the event. I first though am going to Pomegranate's headquarters. We get to do like a little mini tour with all the ambassadors that are here. So that should be super fun. But I need to get my allergies under control because I cannot puzzle this way. Oh my goodness. I was all cute with like my makeup done, and that's all gone. It's a busy day. I have individual prelims and then pairs prelims back to back. So I'm going to be pretty tired by the end of pairs, but it should be fun. My individuals doesn't start till 1:30, but we have the little tour, then opening ceremonies, maybe some puzzling, maybe we'll do something in between, but it should be a fun-filled day. So wish me luck.
Three, two, one, let's go!
Alright, it is time for my individual rounds getting set up. Good morning. Happy Saturday. What a busy day. Yesterday went to do the events. I did individuals and I did pairs. Qualified for finals for both, which I'm excited about. Surprised about pairs because we had never practiced before and we got the 20th spot. So I feel like it's a flashback to nationals when I was like the slowest person in finals, but you know, still fun to be able to do the puzzle. But there isn't too much to do in the event space besides the puzzles. There's a few vendors, there's a little puzzle swap, but there's nothing for like casual puzzling or anything like that for this time. It is their first time doing this event, so hopefully there's some growing pains and they like do a survey so that way we can give some feedback, because it would have been nice to like just stay in the event space and like sit down and puzzle just on my own. But when you're not competing, there's really nothing much to do besides like chit chat. So today I don't actually have to compete until like 3 p.m. and so we're gonna like do some things in Portland or outside of Portland just to explore and fill time. So that's what we're gonna do. Then I have my team's event, and then tomorrow I have the both finals. So that's what today's plan is, and hopefully I can actually like remember to speak to the camera, but I've been trying to at least get a few clips. It's kind of hard when you're competing, but you know, still a good time. It's been a fun morning so far. I went to a farmer's market, a Goodwill, Powell Books, and now we're picking peaches. Nose is red. My first ever teams event is about to start. Hey, good morning. It is Sunday, my final day at the event. I am in finals for both individuals and pairs, which is super fun. And I thought I would show you the puzzles I've done so far up close so that way you can see them. I know if you've been watching the lives on the Completing the Puzzle YouTube channel, you probably already seen these, but in case you just want to know my take on them, it's been very interesting because these are puzzles in general that I probably wouldn't have purchased myself, but now that I've done them, like, this was fun, but it's been a very interesting experience. So first up we have this one by Pomegranate. This is the one I did in my individuals prelim, and it is one that is kind of chaotic. It's not as bright and colorful as I wanted it to be, but it was very doable. I started off with this area here, and I feel like it was either you started off with the cats or you started off with here. So I started off with the trees, and then I had this row of cats, which is pretty distinct because they're larger and they have the instruments, And then I started with the tree, which on the tree side, I did have several pieces that weren't in the right place for the border. So I kind of like left it for a minute because I didn't know what was correct for a few of the pieces. But I also sorted out these little tiny baubles that are hanging, which I thought would be easier than they were. But since they're kind of like in different layers, it's hard to see where it actually went. So I ended up going to the cats and went by the color of the cat. So I did all black cats and all orange cats and all the little ones that have the cheetah print on it. So once I got the cats done, it's easy to fill in everything else because the branches, there are several and there are different layers. So that would have been tricky. So that's how I did this one. And it was fun. I did get 8th place, which is cool. So I am in finals today, which I think it will be actually a 500 piece today based off of just like process of elimination. So we shall see how that one goes. And then I did this one in my pairs prelim. We got 20th place and the top 20 go into the next round. And this one is such a beautiful image, but very tricky. I had never done this brand, the Portland Puzzle Company, the one who are hosting this event. It was a very beautiful puzzle. I will say the coloring is really lovely. It was hard to do in a competition setting because the lighting is so crazy. And so there's like all these like box lights around us, and you get if you're in between some, you often get like very distinct like glare on the puzzle, which we noticed. So this one, it was really hard to see. You're constantly like moving, or if someone stands up, it gets like really shadowy and you're like, sit back down, I can't see. So I feel like it was just a little bit too glary for me. I much prefer the Pomegranate just because for this type of setting, it's a matte puzzle piece and it's so much easier to see the colors versus this one where it's shiny and you're like really having a hard time, and really depending on where your table is, your lighting is so drastically different. And so some people didn't have any issues, and then some people like us where we're in between the two lights, we're like, oh my gosh, this is so hard to see. So I did like the coloring. We did have some issues over here with the edge, just some pieces. We couldn't figure out the border because a few of the pieces fit together, and since it's all like this dark blue, it was hard to see. So we kind of waited for this edge to the very end, but we did it faster than I was expecting. I figured out what our time was, but I was pretty happy with it. I really didn't think we were gonna move on forward. My goal was just to finish, but we got 20th place, which is the top 20 go. So we'll probably be the last ones in the pairs team today, which I think is 1,000 piece. So we'll see, but this was a beautiful image, and this one's called Sweetheart. The first one was called Resounding Success. And then next up, we have the ones we did in our teams final. So there was only one competition for teams. There was 36 teams, and we got 7th place, which was pretty great considering we have never puzzled together. And so I was pretty happy with that, where our goal was to be top 50%. And so we definitely did that. Only 9 teams actually finished the puzzle, which goes to show how difficult of a challenge this was. So first up, we had a 300 piece we needed to complete by the Portland Puzzle Company. This one was beautiful. I loved the image of this one. So for this one, we all kind of like took our own thing because we had never puzzled together, and I had never puzzled teams ever. So we ended up starting off with me doing this area here. So I did the skyline and I did the mountains. We had Cosmo who did the words. We had Lorelai who did like all these tan bits around everything, and then Andrew, he did the little ditzy flowers here as well as the edge of the border of the flowers there, and then we kind of all finished in the flower area to finish them up. So that's what we ended up doing with this one, and we went through this one pretty quickly, and then you had to move into 1,000 piece. So we were feeling pretty good about that one, and then we opened the 1,000 piece and we're like, oh my gosh, this is hard. So here's the image, very quirky and different. It's called Girl with Pink Flamingos, and very quirky. Look at this lady. So this one was tough, I will say. For this one, we had Andrew who started with the brown skirt. I started with the edges. We had Cosmo who was working on the jacket, and then we had Lorelai who was working on the legs of the flamingos. And then once I was done with my edge, I worked on the bodies of the flamingos for a little bit, while Andrew helped with the black jacket and then the little interior pieces of the jacket too. So then once got to a point, I switched and I worked on the black hair, and we ended up all finishing up with the leaves, which at first you're like kind of crazy, and I was like, no, we need to sort by piece shape, and that saved us at the end. So that is what we did, and it ended up going well. We ended up going blackberry picking, so there's some need to try to see if I can get some of that off. So those are the puzzles I've done so far. I'm very curious to see what the images are for today. I know I'm gonna be tired by individuals because I think we're doing 1,000 piece and then we're doing a 500 piece for individuals. So wish me luck. Anyways, I am now going to pack up because we do need to check out before we head out. So I'm gonna pack up and get ready for the day. I am home, and I wanted to just give you a little recap of the event itself and finish up with the puzzles that I purchased, things I came home with, and the final puzzles that I did. So in general, the competition was so much fun. Of course, I love hanging out with some puzzle friends, meeting brand owners, just being a part of the community because I really don't have too much here locally, so it's always fun to go to these events even when I know I'm not going to win, just to partake and meet people. So loved hanging out with everybody, loved meeting the subscribers who came up to me and the people that I've met online. It's just so much fun, and it's just all around good times. If ever you are thinking about going to one of these events, just do it. I know it's going to be scary the first time, but honestly it's so easy to make friends because everyone loves the same hobby and it's just such a great experience. So had such a blast. And the final two puzzles I'll talk about just briefly. First up, we had the one from Paris finals, which all we needed was like 5 extra minutes. Luckily, after the Paris final, we did have an extra little bit of time for lunch, and so we did end up completing it, and it really only took us like 5 extra minutes. So we were so close towards the end. This one was by far my favorite puzzle of the competition. It is absolutely beautiful. It's called LA Liberty. It is pomegranates, but it's one of their newer designs. I feel like the fit of their newer collections are just so much better than the previous stuff. Like, had no issues with this one. Coloring was beautiful. And what really worked with us is that we each had very different skill sets. My Paris partner is really good with patterns, so she kept making clusters of patterns and was asking if I wanted to do those ones, and I was like, patterns aren't really my thing, but patterns were her thing. So I worked with the solid around the border and she worked with the patterns, and once I finished, I kind of joined her at the end, and we were so close to finishing. And I'm still proud of us because, you know, we hadn't really puzzled together before, especially this larger of a piece count, and it was fun. I liked it, and this puzzle, highly recommend. Really want to get more of their stuff from their newer collections because the quality is fantastic. Moving on to the final one for my individuals, which, oh my gosh, what a nail biter. One was so much fun, and I did not win. I did get within the finishing time. Oh my goodness. But this puzzle, so much fun, but it was really tricky, especially this whole cluster right here, because there's so many different mushrooms and they're all pretty similar. And then there's other ones over here that are pretty similar. So you're like, which area of the puzzle do these actually go to? So image-wise, pretty tricky, but I loved the image of this one too. And the quality of this one was really good too. I feel like for the majority of us, the Portland Puzzle Company was very hit or miss. Like, some had fantastic quality, some people had some issues. In general, pretty inconsistent, but they're very open to feedback. So I think that's something that I will mention to them, is just the consistency needs to be a little bit better. This one I did really love the imagery. It's super fun. And yeah, I'm glad to have done that one. Then we'll just finish off with the things that I purchased and came home with. So first up, I did buy a hat by the Puzzle Republic. They have some really fun merch. If you like puzzle clothing and accessories, like that's the place to go because they're super cute. I did end up getting one of their hats. It's just gray with a little puzzle piece, very simple. But I had lost my hat during the event that I needed for the convertible that we're in. So I got this one. I like it because it's like, I like puzzles, but it's not like loud and proud. I mean, a little bit, but it's not crazy, you know? So I like that it's pretty simple design. And then I did buy this puzzle from Aurora. So she is an Alaskan-based brand, which is pretty cool. All her artists are based in Alaska, and I did meet the owners, and it was just super cool to see them. This image, really fun. I think they said they are working on their next collection. They are working on their next collection, which will also include 500 pieces, and that's something that I did ask them. So I'm excited to see what other designs they come up with. This one was definitely the easiest out of all of them. They have some pretty tricky ones. This one is 1,000 piece called Tiger of the North, but look at that imagery. Isn't that so fun? The artist here is Dawn Garrity, and I'll leave all their information down below. Very small company. They've only been open for about a year, but as far as what I could tell of the display that they had, really great stuff, and I'm excited to see what they're about. Next up, we have the 2 pomegranates that I got at the little tour that we went to. This one, so fun. So this is one of their circle ones. I'm really loving their circle ones, clearly. This one is by Susan Barnett, and it's called Mandala 4. And look at that crazy one. Oh my gosh. I feel like this one's going to be absolutely wild, but really fun at the end. So this one I'm going to really enjoy. And then this one might be my favorite out of all the circle ones that they have put out, because the imagery is just stunning. And I feel like it's going to be a little bit easier because there's a little bit more to work with. A lot of the other ones tend to be like based off of pattern. With this one, it does have some patterns to it, but it has a little bit more. So it's called Floral Compass. The artist is Erin E. Hunter. And here's the box design. Like, isn't that gorgeous? It's like it's almost like stained glass, but with flowers on top. Absolutely beautiful. Here is the full image there. Honestly, this one is probably my favorite out of all of them. I wonder how they do with these little bits. Oh no, okay. On this side, the little birds are still inside the circle. That's everything that I wanted to mention about this event. So much fun. I think they're going to learn a lot and have a lot of takeaways from this first event. I really think for me, I would have loved to have seen just casual puzzling tables, you know, just a few extra tables for people to do the puzzles that they buy or bring with them, or the ones that they're swapping. I didn't end up getting anything from the swap, but I did partake and give some puzzles for the swap. So I think that would have been great. It's just to have casual puzzling tables. You know, if they did have a little bit extra space, even just a couple of them, just so people can sit down, do their own puzzles, or puzzles that maybe someone had done for a speed puzzling round and they just want to swap with other people, or for teams that want to practice before the event. I think there's a lot of room for us to have done that, because that would have been really great to have some time to practice with the people that you're going to be competing with. That would have been nice, besides in a hotel, which some of the hotels, especially the ones that we stayed in, didn't have really puzzle space in the room, so you're like trying to puzzle in like common spaces, and it's just awkward. So that would have been really nice to see. Also, I just feel like in general, communication was just a little bit rough, just because for some things, like, you didn't really know what it was until like right beforehand, and you're like, well, if I had known, I would have made different plans. So one thing is like the social, they had announced it like on a story on Instagram or something like that, but it was that night and we were kind of far away, and there was like a weird break in between, so we're kind of just like, I don't know if we actually were going to do it. I heard it was really fun. So I do think having just more communication prior to the event of all the things that are included, everything that's going to be laid out in detail, because I just feel like everything just seemed kind of like an afterthought. Like, I didn't even know the raffle was happening until midway through the event, and it was for charity. So I think like more promotion of that prior to even having the event would have been great. Like a whole mass email that has like all the dedicated information about the scheduling, where everything is, what's included. Like that would have been really, really helpful instead of just like relying on stories or emails throughout the event. Because for one, maybe you're not watching your phone when you're at these type of events. I know for me, I'm on it because I'm an influencer, you know, but I know some others were just like phones away because I'm on a trip. So it would have been nice to have a lot more information. But in general, I had a great time, super fun. I would definitely go again next year because it is pretty close to me. And I just feel like the vibes in itself were just really fun and relaxed. I love having the music in there, even though for me, sometimes I did have my headphones just because I was always on the side where there was people. So that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if ever you were planning on attending something like this, I highly recommend just going and trying it out. And even if you know you're not going to win, it's always just a fun time to be with other puzzle people. So thank you all so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.